Hello, I'm Rowena Marie Ocaras from offering number G060. The topic that I am going to discuss with you right now would be the principles on which our relationships are grounded. Since this topic is based on our church doctrine, I am relying more on the written text itself found in the KENOSIS book, which details are included in the last slide to avoid misinterpretation and to avoid delivering an erroneous message. The content of my presentation is divided into three parts. God's story, which proclaims the truth we believe, which further expounds the message behind the passage from God's story, and we live, the enactment of the lesson learned. Slides for every subject are provided so you can follow the discussion and for your clarification onwards if there is any. I want you to take heed of this verse and the following verses, excerpted from the book of Genesis. In Genesis chapter 1 verse 26, God said, "Let us make man in our image and likeness, and let them have dominion over the fish of the sea and over the birds of the sky and over the cattle and over all the wild animals and reptiles that crawl upon the earth." In Genesis chapter 1 verse 28, God said, "Be fruitful and multiply, and fill the earth, subdue it and have dominion over the fish of the seas and over the birds of the air and over every living creature that moves upon the earth." Now, in chapter 2 of Genesis, verse 18, God said, "It is not good for the man to be alone. I wish to make another creature who will be like him." And in verse 23, he said, "This one is bone of my bones and flesh of my flesh. She shall be called woman because she was taken from man." The first is found in Genesis chapter 1, verses 1 to 2 and 4a. It talks about how God created heaven and earth, brought forth the light, and separated it from darkness. This account belongs to the so-called priestly tradition. It is defined as less concrete because the whole process of creation is too unfathomable for us. It somehow contradicts the Big Bang Theory. But who knows? Our calculation of years differs from God. On one hand, Genesis chapter 1 verses 26 to 28 sums up God's plan of creating man in his image and likeness, to be fruitful and to multiply and have dominion over other creatures. In order to multiply, two beings should have different sexes. That is logical. It emphasizes the procreative dimension of human sexuality. Humanity was created, male and female, for the sake of having offspring. On the other hand, the second creation is found in Genesis chapter 2, verses 4b to 25, which is referred to as the Yahwistic tradition. The focus is shifted now to the good of spouses, the unitive dimension of human sexuality. We already know that Adam was the first person created by God, and imagine him to be the only human creature in the world without any human family. See this picture. Guess what? It's the Garden of Eden. Imagine how Adam had everything. Natural resources are abundant. He was the steward of all creatures. He was even the one naming them, from birds to fishes to wild animals. Yet he didn't find any suitable helper for him. It probably felt like something is missing. Even if man was put to live in a garden of delights, his life was still incomplete. Thus did Yahweh God come to a crucial creative decision. I shall make him a helper. Yahweh God's motive for creating woman is that it is not right that the man should be alone. This helper is, literally speaking, an appropriate partner for the man, someone suited to him. Yes, an animal can be a good companion, but there is still this undeniable gap between the nature of man and an animal in terms of decision making, communication, taking a course of action, etc. This is Eve and Adam. By the way, how was the woman formed? In Genesis chapter 2 verses 21 to 22, it said, God caused the man to fall into a deep sleep, and while he was sleeping, he took one of the man's ribs and then closed up the place with flesh. Then the Lord God made a woman from the rib he had taken out of the man, and he brought her to the man. God gave the first woman to the first man not as his master, nor as his servant, but as his companion. Forming the woman from man's ribs, drawn from his side, signified her status of equal dignity with her partner. The woman was not taken from man's head, otherwise she would be over man. Neither was she taken from the man's foot, otherwise she would be under man. The institution of marriage as willed by God in the second creation narrative is dominated by the idea of gift. The husband and his wife are a personal gift from God for the other. After all, it was Yahweh God who brought the woman to the man as his personal gift. In line with this, the nature of the spouse as a divine gift is also linked to the deep sleep into which Yahweh God makes the man fall. Sleep is symbolic of the mystery wrapping the divine gift, according to Edward Schillebeeckx, Dutch theologian. Mystery in this regard has a twofold significance. First and foremost, it means the element of darkness that wraps the partnership of husband and wife. A spouse would never fully understand the other. At the same time, mystery also means that there would always be something new for the spouses to discover in their marriage. Warning: boredom and monotony are the symptoms that the marriage is not true anymore to its nature as mystery, and for this reason, it is at the brink of collapse. Flesh and bone. Theodore Makin says that the welcome given by the man to his partner is particularly meaningful. Flesh, with its softness, signifies human weakness. Flesh refers to a person's liabilities. For its part, bone, with its hardness, symbolizes human strength. Bone refers to a person's assets. When combined, flesh and bone, there is a full range of a person's character traits. In other words, the man wants to tell the woman that she is his partner in every contingency in his life, a companionship not destroyed by changing circumstances. In Genesis chapter 2 verse 24, it says, that is why a man leaves his father and mother and is united to his wife, and they become one flesh. Here, covenant is formed and there is a commitment to one another. This is construed as the most precious commitment until the end of time. The final remark would be about the nakedness, not as something taken from malice, but purity. There is this total exposure of one's whole body to another's gaze, scrutiny, and judgment. There is no cover or any veil that can be the source of shame and embarrassment, a probable cause of rejection by the partner. Nakedness symbolizes acceptance, so unconditional that no information is being kept secret. Hence, all fear of any possible rejection has disappeared. It also means to stand without psychological covering or pretense in the presence of the other. Therefore, It represents the fullness of union. Take note that human sexuality has a twofold dimension, procreation and union, as discussed earlier. They are two inseparable elements. The absence of one or both would result in an idle kind of relationship, no longer serving the purpose of glorifying the Creator. As for our enactment, the assignment is writing a letter of promise regarding how much you respect the dignity of the opposite sex in order to keep your relationship pure and modest. And give this letter to someone whom you value so much, and refresh in your minds how your relationship started to appreciate more his or her presence in your life. That would be all. And by the way, here is the reference. Thank you so much for listening and reaching this far.